the graphic business Stanbic breakfast meeting. Let us now call on Atuafo, he's the Managing Director of the Graphic Communication Group Limited, to give us the welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, let's show some wonderful applause for him.
The representative of the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry, the Chief Executive of Stanbic Bank, Mr. Kyerematen Asumini, our expert panelists, fellow Chief Executive Officers, our distinguished participants, our audience member networks across our virtual channels and on radio, the editor, graphic business, ladies, gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank Breakfast Meeting, our maiden edition for the year 2021. As is our custom, we are here to prefer ideas and deliberate on propositions that can help shape policies and enable Ghanaian businesses, importantly, to grow. Our theme for this session is leveraging the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and the critical success factors therefore required. Now, situating this conversation in context, I believe it is meet that we pitch a better appreciation of our topic and look at the trade potential in Africa. Africa's population is presently pegged at 1.2 billion, distributed across 54 countries, and with an estimated combined GDP of $3.4 trillion US. However, it is also established that there is minimal trading across Africa's countries and populations. UNCTAD creates a clearer image of the near insignificant inter-African trade for us. From 2015 through 2017, trade among African countries was a meager 2%. And we compare this to the Americas 47%, Asia 61%, Europe 67% in the same period. Oceania, for example, with a population of 43 odd million, came in with 7%. Therefore, we have a significant opportunity considering the state of the market that we are opportune to play in. It has come as really welcome news when our African leaders took a bold and rare step to try and recalibrate this by finally agreeing that what will save the continent is the aggregation and exploitation of its combined population as a guaranteed market for Africa's continentally produced goods, services, and to create wealth for Africans. Now, how do we liberate the potential of this significant opportunity that we sit with? Ladies, gentlemen, this, in my view, is the essence of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Indeed, the objects in Article 3 of the agreement establishing the AfCFTA affirms this position, and I would cite a quote, two of them. A, create a single market for goods, services, facilitated by movement of persons in order to deepen the economic integration of the African continent, and in accordance with the Pan-African vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa as enshrined in Agenda 2063. And B, create a liberalized market for goods and services through successive rounds of negotiation. It is therefore liberating that eventually Africa will remove its trade barriers, both tariff and non-tariff, to fellow African countries when the AfCFTA is fully implemented. Experts at the Mo Ibrahim Foundation estimate that At that point, when we become fully operational, Africa's GDP would increase by 1%, employment by 1.2%, while trade among Africans will rise by 33%. Other analysts also posit that the AfCFTA has the potential to generate 5.7 trillion in business spending by 2030. And this is only in the next 9 years. It's not that far away. So it's all very possible. Distinguished participants, the opportunities the African Continental Free Trade Area offers us are myriad and enormous. And for a country with an 80% estimated population of businesses being SMEs, we need to reorient and gear ourselves to tap the benefits the agreement brings. And this is why the Graphic and Stanbic Bank have agreed to create this platform today, where our expert panelists would enable us plot how we as businesses can tap into the AfCFTA opportunity. I welcome you once again, and I wish you a great meeting, and I thank you.
Well, let's bring another person that believes in this whole dream about this breakfast discussion, Stanbic Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Managing Director, Chief Executive of Stanbic Bank, to give us another address here.
The representative of the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry, the Director, Trading Services, AfCFTA Secretariat, Mrs. Emily Mburu Ndoria, the Managing Director, Graphic Communications Group Limited, Mr. Atuafo, the representative of the President of the AGI, the Chief Executive Officer, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Madam Efua Asabia Asari, industry players, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. When the founding fathers of the Organization of African Unity conceived the Union in 1963, they envisioned a future in which African states would cooperate to promote economic development on the continent. After several false starts, the continent has yet another opportunity to realize that dream with the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA. I would reckon that Haile Selassie, Kwame Nkrumah, Modibo Keita, Gamal Abdel Nasser, and the other leading lights of African liberation will be watching us very closely wherever they are. Stanbic Bank Ghana is a member of the Standard Bank Group. We serve many African countries and have a physical presence in 20 of these countries, including Ghana. Our group's purpose is Africa is our home, and we drive her growth. Across these markets, a key strategic area of focus is in the financing of cross-border trade. By supporting individuals and businesses to trade across borders, we make these economies sustainable and profitable and achieve a meaningful impact in the lives of our people. As we are all aware, AfCFTA has 8 main objectives, all of which center on promoting the economic development and transformation of the African continent. The alignment between our group's purpose and AfCFTA's goals, therefore, is undeniably strong, necessitating an effective collaboration between the Standard Bank Group and its affiliates and the AfCFTA community to realize our common vision. AfCFTA seeks primarily to improve access and provide scale for its member countries by consolidating a market with a combined population of 1.3 billion inhabitants and a GDP of 3.4 trillion. Yet the consensus is that other challenges such as the lack of adequate production capacity, a huge infrastructure deficit estimated to be as high as 300 billion, a lack of diversification in the export base to include digital and other more desirable goods, both in the B2B and B2C spheres, will prove even daunting. It is from this perspective that we at Standard Bank see opportunities to contribute to this new paradigm in a number of important ways. We see opportunities to consider to provide tailor-made working capital solutions for businesses and individuals, especially in the manufacturing, transportation, and logistics sectors. We also see opportunities to support companies and governments to raise long-term funding domestically and internationally for the development of critical infrastructure. We see opportunities to provide advisory services to assist businesses to integrate into their supply chains and create jobs, especially in the export-oriented sectors. We also see opportunities to support companies, governments, and individuals to manage the expected increase in foreign exchange risks, since the AfCFTA initiative does not provide for a single African currency as pertains in the Eurozone, for example. We also see opportunities to avail our digital platforms and solutions to accommodate the change in traditional flows of goods, services, finance, and people, and the growing digital component of global flows. And then finally, we see an opportunity to facilitate e-commerce by helping both large and small players purchase virtual goods and services on mobile devices and platforms in order to participate in expanding cross-border trade. Our footprints are all over Africa, to the extent that AfCFTA would lead us to the envisioned economic development of the continent. We are fully on board. Indeed, Africa is our home. We drive her growth. I wish you well in today's deliberations, which should help lead us to the promised land. Thank you very much.
Well, it's time to also bring on board another critical partner in this whole free trade area. That is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Let's welcome Dr. Ifua Sabiasari.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Patrick Nimo, Rep of the Minister for Trade and Industry, the Chief Executive of Stanbic Bank, Mr. Kyerematen Asumeni, also known as Ato Kyerematen Asumeni, the Vice President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Mr. Frank Yim, the Director for Trading Services and Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, Madam Emily, and the MD of Graphic Communications Group, Mr. Atuafo, captains of industry, friends from the media. I bring you greetings from the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. I'm grateful to Graphic Business and Stanbic Bank for the opportunity to share a few thoughts on the theme for today's breakfast meeting. Indeed, next to the COVID pandemic, I dare say that AfCFTA is the next trending item in the world of business on our continent, and rightly so. For an intergovernmental project as ambitious as unifying 54 countries with 1.2 billion people and a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion, it is not surprising that this pact achieves such priority on prime discussion platforms. From where I sit as an agency under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, mandated to promote Ghana's non-traditional exports to grow our economy, the African Continental Free Trade Area is perceived as the crucial turning point for industrialization and development in Africa. The perceived potential of AfCFTA to take some 100 million persons on the continent out of this abject poverty will peg the interest on any right-thinking person. Earlier this month, on International Women's Day, I had the opportunity of addressing the She Trades Commonwealth Forum, a capacity building initiative of the International Trade Center for Women-Owned Businesses. The topic for discussion on that forum was AfCFTA, unlocking market opportunities for women to trade. With women-owned businesses dominating 65% of Ghana's SME space, it is no wonder that women in that category also want to find out how to take a piece of the cake, and I dare say a chunk of that cake. Honorable Rep of the Minister, ladies and gentlemen, in the last quarter of 2020, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, under the auspices of the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the able leadership of Honorable Alan Kojo Kyerematen, launched the National Export Development Strategy with regional roadshows throughout the 16 regions of Ghana. Coincidentally, Stanbic Bank partnered us on the regional roadshows to enable us roll out the public education program. I wish to thank you once again, Stanbic Bank. This comprehensive document was put together with the collaborative efforts of over 100 persons drawn from the private sector, academia, public service, media, and civil service organizations. Within the National Export Development Strategy, there's a portion dedicated to a list of interventions on how, together as a nation, we can effectively position Ghanaian export goods and services in the African Continental Free Trade Area. This is against the background that our records for intra-African trade has not been great. 18% of total exports, woefully inadequate. This is meant to be an improvement on the 9% that used to exist in the year 2000, though. I believe that today's discussion will tease out key aspects we can look out for, which will indicate if we are success-bound or otherwise. With the very knowledgeable minds I see on this morning's panel, I'm confident that this forum will help us identify the vital steps we need to take to ensure the success of the AfCFTA, the kinks we need to iron out in our infrastructure, how we will navigate roadblocks when we hit them, and above all, the commitment to overcome the legal and physical barriers to free movement of goods and people. COVID-19 has caused us enough delays in the implementation of several infrastructure. Let us not do ourselves further disservice by having words spoken here today gather more dust on research shelves. I wish us all an insightful discussion, and may we all remain committed to seeing an industrialized Africa in our time. Thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Patrick Yonimo, Chief Director of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, to give us the keynote address.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Managing Director, Management and Staff of Graphic Communications Group, the Editor, Graphic Business, the Chief Executive Officer and Staff of Stanbic Ghana, Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Vice Chair of the Association of Ghanaian Industries, the Director of Trade in Services, Investment, IPR, and Digital Trade of the AfCFTA Secretariat, Captains of Industry, distinguished panelists, invited guests, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I read this on behalf of the Honorable Minister. Let me start by expressing my profound gratitude to both the Graphic Communication Group and Stanbic Bank Ghana, the organizers of the breakfast meeting, for the invitation extended to me to deliver the keynote speech on the theme Leveraging AfCFTA, the Critical Success Factors Indeed, the organizers could not have selected a more suitable theme for their first breakfast meeting for the year 2021, considering the fact that AfCFTA holds the key to the transformation of our economy and, by extension, the continent of Africa. The history of economic transformation of the leading trading blocs in the world, namely Europe, North America, and Asia, confirms that no region has experienced significant economic development without a high level of inter-regional trade. As we are all aware, the level of inter-African trade is significantly low compared to the rest of the world. As at the year 2019, inter-African trade was 15.5% compared to 68% of Europe, 69.6% among Asian countries, and 30.1% of North American economies, according to UNCTAD. Ghana's import bill, on the average, annually exceeds $10 billion. In 2018, for example, the total imports by Ghana amounted to $12 billion. The top 30 imported commodities, which constitute about 57% of the total annual import bill in the same year, were largely imported from outside the continent of Africa. On the other hand, Ghana's total exports in 2018 was $14.8 billion United States dollars, including non-traditional exports of about $2.9 billion US dollars. A significant portion of this amount constituted exports to market destinations outside of Africa, that is Europe, North America, and Asia. This points clearly to the fact that Ghana does more business in trade with countries outside of Africa than within the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, let me recall that the creation of a single continental market for Africa had long been the dream of our founding fathers of most of the major countries in our continent. The Abuja Declaration of 1991 of the Authority of Heads of States of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, envisioned the establishment of an African economic community. A single market for Africa was considered as the most important building block for the establishment of the African economic community. The coming into force of the AfCFTA agreement removes the perennial limitation of small fragmented markets and replaces it with a massive single duty-free, quota-free continental market with a total market size of 1.2 billion people and an estimated GDP of 3.5 trillion US dollars. It is also worth noting that under the Protocol on Trade in Services, which was negotiated as part of the AfCFTA agreement, Ghanaian businesses can now exploit fully opportunities in Africa in 5 service sectors, namely transport, telecommunications, financial services, tourism, and business services. The AfCFTA is expected to boost Ghanaian exports, stimulate investment and innovation, foster structural transformation, improve food security, enhance economic growth and export diversification, and above all, provide fresh impetus and dynamism to the economic integration of Ghana into the African market. There are many benefits that Ghana will derive from effective implementation of the AfCFTA, including better harmonization and coordination of trade between Ghana and other African countries, adding value to Ghana's abundant natural resources, and promoting economic diversification. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in spite of the benefits to be derived from AfCFTA, it is worthy of to note that these benefits will not accrue to Ghana automatically or by mere chance. There are a number of critical success factors that will enable Ghana to harness these benefits. First is the access to trade information. Trade information on products with export potential, prices, market access requirements, and nature of competition is a critical part of participating in effective trading under the AfCFTA. Under the National Action Plan for Boosting Inter-African Trade, the government is seeking to bridge the information gap by providing adequate, easily accessible, and timely information necessary for taking full advantage of opportunities under AfTA. The Ghana Export Promotion Authority and the National AfTA Coordinating Office have therefore intensified their activities under the one-stop-shop market hub for the provision of integrated, relevant export trade information, including linking the hub with the African Trade Observatory, which has been established as one of the operational instruments under the AfTA. In addition to the above, the Ministry of Trade and Industry is developing a structured framework to assist the Ghanaian private sector to establish regional networks to share information on business, export, and other market opportunities across Africa. Meanwhile, the Ministry, in collaboration with GEPA, has organized national and regional conferences designed to provide general and specific information on the key components of the AfTA agreement, as well as the operational modalities. Second is access to export finance. The lack of access to financing for exports and the high cost of capital in Ghana is generally a constraint to export development. Currently, the monetary policy rate, which has become an important benchmark for pricing lending rates in Ghana, stands at 14.5% compared to 3.5% in South Africa, 4% in Côte d'Ivoire, 7% in Kenya, 11.8% in Nigeria. Financing for exports has therefore become an important issue that requires immediate collective attention if the Ghanaian private sector can harness the benefits of the AfCFTA. The Akufo-Addo-led government, since 2017, has, however, implemented a number of program interventions aimed at supporting the business community with improved access to finance, as well as reduce the cost of credit. These include the financial stimulus package for local industries, which is being implemented with the support of participating financial institutions, the banking sector reforms, which has yielded improved liquidity in the banking sector, the proposals to establish a domestic credit rating agency to assist firms with access to capital, and the Ghana Stock Exchange market initiatives to help attract capital to Ghanaian businesses. The Ministry of Trade will collaborate with banks and other financial institutions to establish special financing windows for products of strategic sectors and special programs such as the 1D1F initiative and the Strategic Industries Initiative. We will also ensure that Ghanaian businesses benefit from the rollout of the proposed Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPSS, by Afrexim Bank and the African Trade Insurance, ATI, which will provide export credit, insurance, and guarantees for businesses in Africa under the AfTA agreement. Third is weak institutional capacity. One of the critical success factors that all members states of AfTA, including Ghana, must address is the weak institutional capacity within the public sector agencies supporting export development. Majority of private sector enterprises in Ghana are micro, small, and medium enterprises operating in the informal sector, and who, from the development experience, have limited capacity for producing for exports. They require capacity support in the areas of standards, certification, packaging, and labeling, among others. It is worth noting that projects such as the Trade-Related Assistance and Quality Enabling Program, TRAC, has contributed significantly to the retooling of laboratories of the conformity assessment bodies and regulatory agencies such as the Ghana Standards Authority, the Food and Drugs Authority, the Plant Protection and Regulatory Services Authority of MOFA. It is important to decentralize the access, availability, and resourcing of these regulatory institutions and bodies to undertake some of such operations at the regional and district level. In this regard, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, with the support from the African Development Bank, AFDB, and International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, has established 67 business resource centers, BRCs, across the country. The BRCs are designed to provide business development services to micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as serve as service centers at the district level for key regulatory agencies, including FDA and GSA. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition, the Ministry of Trade and Industry in January 2021 designated the Ghana Customs Division of GRA as the competent authority of Ghana to ensure that exporters under AfCFTA have easy access to export registration and AfTA rules of origin certification, among other services when exporting under AfTA. Government will continue to make available adequate human and financial resources to support the activities of the National AfTA Coordinating Office, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, to identify and provide relevant capacity support to the private sector operators to take advantage of the AfCFTA. Fourth is the lack of fiscal incentive framework for export development. In order to harness the benefits of AfTA, the Ghanaian private sector requires fiscal incentives in the areas of taxation to boost their competitiveness. In view of this, government has since 2017 removed or reduced a number of taxes. Under the Industrial Transformation Program, for example, a number of fiscal incentive frameworks, including waiver of import duties for imported plant, equipment, machinery, and raw materials for 1D, 1F companies, and companies operating under the Ghana Automotive Manufacturing Development Program, were approved by Parliament in 2018. In consultation with the private sector, the ministry will develop a fiscal incentive framework for the sugar industry as well as the pharmaceutical sector in Ghana. These would be targeted at taking full advantage of market opportunities in other African markets. Fifth is adequate trade-related infrastructure. The importance of trade-related infrastructure, particularly in the area of ports, roads, railways, aviation, communication, and energy, cannot be overemphasized. The availability and adequacy of trade-related infrastructure will enhance Ghana's competitiveness and position the country as an attractive investment destination. It's in line with this that under the National Action Plan for Boosting Inter-African Trade, the government focus is on developing and implementing short, medium, and long-term programs and projects aimed at mobilizing resources for the development of business-related infrastructure projects and other mechanisms for a comprehensive industrial transformation program. Distinguished invited guests, the implementation of this plan will create the enabling environment for the private sector participation in the development of infrastructure projects for BIAT. This would require collaboration with both local and foreign stakeholders, such as the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIIF, to develop innovative, legal, financial, and other instruments for cross-border infrastructure development projects. The completion of the Tema Port expansion project and the successful implementation of the new Trade Facilitation and Customs Management System, ICAM's UNIPAS, coupled with the ongoing Takoradi Port expansion project, construction and rehabilitation of various road networks across the country, and the development currently ongoing in the railway sector will boost the private sector capacity to take full advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, trade facilitation measures have been introduced to simplify the trading regime to help the private sector leverage the numerous opportunities the AfTA agreement presents. The reduction in the number of inspection bodies at the ports and border posts, the harmonization and simplification of customs procedures and documentation under ICAMS, the institutional engagements between government institutions responsible for AfTA implementation and the private sector, and the significant investment in flagship programs of government are all geared towards ensuring that Ghanaian businesses participate fully in the Single Continental Market. Government will continue to ensure that trade remedies and safeguard measures, which are crucial for the protection of domestic industries, are effectively implemented. In this regard, the Ghana International Trade Commission will continue to enjoy government support in undertaking its mandate in relation to anti-dumping, countervailing, and safeguard measures. Ladies and gentlemen, one needs not look any further for the critical success in our journey to empower the private sector to harness the opportunities and benefits under AfCFTA. Ultimately, the successful implementation of AfCFTA requires national coordination between actors at all levels. It also requires the translation of the strong political will demonstrated by His Excellency the President in support of the AfCFTA into concrete actions by officials at all levels, including public organizations, private sector associations, civil society organizations, and the media. I trust that this August gathering of captains of industries demonstrates that with the right mix of facilitation and support, the private sector will spearhead economic transformation of Ghana by taking full advantage of the African Single Continental Market. I thank you for your kind attention.